everybody. Well, I'm just a simple man and the current No DQ NXT champion, and my name is Noah Foster. And welcome once again to another installment of 205 Live Matters, episode 20. Thank you all again for your support in continuing this forum for the Cruiserweight division. I greatly appreciate it. Tonight we're going to, of course, discuss this week's episode and a few thoughts regarding some of the Cruiserweights used between the three powerhouse brands of WWE and possibly the AEW effect. But first, allow me to introduce you to my guest tonight. First off, after making his debut, he is the new Team NBDQ Predictions Champion. He is a family man, and he brings knowledge beyond belief. He is the holiday, Mr. Christopher Mace. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing good. Like I said, I'm completely shocked. My first time on that video actually winning. I'm completely shocked. Good thing Kip Saban gave me a point there. Everybody else didn't pick him.
Hey, you earned that victory, man. Congrats and well done. And also with us tonight, he's back after a very long time, doing everything for his brand and in college. Matt Sport to you. He is the current Aftermatch Wrestling champion, and he hosts his own series, The Wrestling Rundown. He's also sometimes known as the Talkinator. He's the Birdman of Boston, Mr. Owen Finch. Owen, how are you?
Doing very well. How are you, Noah?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. I look forward to defending this title against both of you and Stephen, Jerry, Cindy, James, and Colin. This
Not James.
NXT TakeOver 25. It's sure to be a hell of a night. But before we get to NXT TakeOver, let's talk Cruiserweights. So tonight was episode number 131, emanating from Boomer Sooner, sorry, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner Land, as we good old know, good old JR. Episode number 131, and I love the fact 205 Live always seems to change the variance when it comes to the way you introduce the show or build the main event. Sometimes it's straight Maverick, sometimes it's a video package that actually matters. Sometimes it's just one person from the roster itself introducing you to themselves and what to expect from this show while hyping themselves up. This was a little bit of a different approach as we start out with the gentleman, Jack Gallagher. He basically is on his smartphone with a pop socket, I guess those are still a thing, reviewing the match they had, the Fatal 4-Way match from their expedition over in Joliet, England, where Humberto Carrillo got the best of Jack and pinned him for the win. So who comes into the picture? Humberto Carrillo, wondering what he's doing, and then Jack's like, yes, Humberto. So basically, we're talking about also how much fun they had in that tag team match last week, beating the crap out of the Singh brothers, buddy. But Jack says he has a bit of uneasiness to him because while Humberto got the best of him in that multi-person match, and they seem to have great chemistry together, we truly don't know who's the best out of the two. And he wants to know one-on-one. So he challenges Humberto Carrillo to what you shall say, a friendly contest. And Humberto, he accepts, saying, it would be my pleasure to beat you again. And then we get right into the show. So, Owen, what were your thoughts on basically this, I guess you could say, cold opening to the next main event?
I like this cold opening. I thought it was fresh and it felt different. Because it was a different feel to the show. They typically already have a match announced like ahead of time on 205 Live, like the previous week. But this time they just announced it on the show. But it's not like this is just a random match. This is a matchup they've been building for, really a few months, really.
All the way back when they were under the regime of Drew Gulak, which we'll get into shortly. But before I get more into our opening bout, Chris, what were your thoughts on this opening?
I say it was completely different. It wasn't something that you would normally see from an opening for 205 Live. So I like how they just set up and they're just having a talk conversation, pretty much just a random friendly conversation saying, look, I want to know who's the better out of the two of us. Yeah, you did beat me. But like I said, that was a fatal 4-way. That wasn't a one-on-one match, and he wanted to know who was the best out of the two. So I thought it was a great way to open up the show, set up your main event.
Yeah. So with that, let's get into our opening match, which was quite surprising to me, but it kind of makes sense. It's the Brian Kendrick versus Mike Kanellis. So apparently the Brian Kendrick, what's funny here, this match was kind of developed from social media, but wasn't really made official on social media. Drake Maverick, I guess he just brought out of the blue. So I kind of like how this match came too. So basically, Brian Kendrick, he congrats his friend Akira Tozawa on his victory, says he's well-deserved, should be in line for a championship opportunity. He's a worthy adversary to be champion. But, of course, we have Mike Kanellis saying, blah, 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 you're just, come on. We all know that you don't believe that crap, and you're just literally solving for yourself because you didn't win that. So now we have a bit of a blood rivalry between these two, which I knew was going to escalate eventually. And we had a nice opening match, I like to think, with these two. And commentary was pretty funny here as well. We, of course, have our standard commentary team of Nigel McGuinness, Aiden English, and Vic Joseph. Very good chemistry Nigel and Aiden always demonstrate. The Jezebel comment still throws me off. Nigel gets hot from that. Chris, what were your thoughts on this opening match?
Good way to start the show. Like I said, you're continuing with the storyline. You're going with fact, okay, Mike Kanellis was feuding with Tozawa. Brian Kendrick is in his corner, so now it's time for Kendrick to have a match with Mike Kanellis. Like I said, I think Mike Kanellis and Maria are one of the hotter acts in 205 Live. I said Brian Kendrick, it was great to see him in a match. It was good. I thought it was a good opening match. I liked the interaction. I liked how he kept trying to go. Brian Kendrick tried to keep going for a submission, went for sliced bread, tried to go for a submission. I loved the counter that he did get out of that submission and how he did it. And then when he hits the move again, then he goes for his finish, which it should be called Love Hurts or something along the lines. I don't know what exactly his finish is, but that'd be a good name for it. So I'm gonna call it Love Hurts anytime he hits it from now on.
I like it.
But like I said, it was a great opening match. Good way to start the show.
All right. So before I give my little bit of a play-by-play breakdown, Owen, what were your thoughts on this match? And is there any takeaways you take from it or anything commentary said?
Yeah, I like the match as well. I just got to make sure I point something out here. So technically, I was thinking about turning the show off because they mentioned blood money and how Brian Kendrick and Mike Kanellis are both going to be in the Battle Royal. And I did say, if 205 Live built to that show at all, I turn it off. However, there's a loophole here. This match didn't really build to that Battle Royal at all. It just kind of focused on their feud in 205 Live. It was just
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. Thank God. But I really like this feud even goes back further to the social media stuff because obviously you have Mike Kanellis who attacked Brian Kendrick before he was supposed to have a match a few weeks ago, and then because this is kind of why I like 205 Live, because he's feuding with he was feuding with Akira Tozawa, he indirectly was also feuding with Brian Kendrick in a sense also as well. And I really like this too. It also just shows too that cruiserweight wrestling isn't always just about high flying. Here it was just mainly who was the best technical wrestler out of these two, and I really liked it. I really liked you'll probably break it down, but the suplex off the steps that Kendrick hit on Mike Kanellis, nearly
a mini superplex, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way Mike's bounced.
And then and I liked how aggressive Mike Kanellis was, and yeah, I don't know if he went over here because obviously we'll get into this in the main event. There's talk that his contract's expiring soon, so he may not resign. So maybe they want to keep him happy, but I feel though that might not have changed anything because winning a match right here, I don't think would change his mind because it's not like you want a title or anything like that in this match. So
true, but it feels like to me when I look at 205 Live, wins and losses actually do matter. Gee, another place I wonder if that actually matters at all. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this match a little bit. So, of course, we get a bit of a filling out process. Pretty fast kickoff, too. It really didn't come into one man's favor until you got basically a rebound clothesline from Brian Kendrick, who immediately tries to lock in the captain's hook. But, of course, Mike being the Baron, he's aware he gets out of the ring. I don't blame him one bit. And then Mike, he regains the advantage. First, after damaging his hand into the ring post. Dumb move there. Not nearly as bad as Drew did once in that blindfold match, but that's a whole nother era of wrestling. And then they're fighting outside of the ring for a while, and Mike, he really gains an advantage after suplexing Brian Kendrick into the barricade, and then he goes for another suplex in the ring, quick cover, nothing special. Following that, we get a chin lock, a bit of a minor rest fall, but not so much to the point that, you're going to get bored or this is the direction of the match. He immediately changes it up, and then he goes for power move after power move into another cover, still nothing really effective, enough for even a 2.5. We get some chops in the corner, and then we get a bit of counter wrestling because it was a game of control. You got counter superplex attempt into kicking party. A kick was countered, and then Brian Kendrick, once again, relying on his savviness, into another captain's hook submission. But again, Mike Kanellis, he gets out of that. And then moving forward, we get, as you all like to call it, the attempted superplex to Brian Kendrick, off the steel steps, very top steel step. But the Brian Kendrick, he counted, and he ended up superplexing Mike Kanellis off it, bouncing him off the floor, both men down. This was really one of the most pivotal spots, I feel like, in this match that really kind of drew who could gain momentum here. And then following that, we get, like you said, slice bread number 2, attempt number 1, countered into Mike Kanellis trying to do a power move. Nope, countered into another Captain's Hook. I think it was like the 3rd time around. Basically, though, Mike, being the savvy veteran, he rolls through, and we get I think almost a Michinoku driver from him. This is the first one, into a nice pinfall, but still not enough. Following this, both men, they are just going at each other. You can tell the hatred, according to the storyline, each man had for one another, but also who wanted to try and win it more. I also appreciate the fact Mike Kanellis didn't show a lot of frustration here. Maybe it's because Maria was at ringside. I don't know. Anyway, there was an exchange, punch, kicks, elbows, super kick party. There was a super kick, then another super kick counter. And then that super kick got countered into a vicious clothesline, one of Mike Kanellis' signatures. And then following that, Lee Brian Kendrick, though, he regains momentum. We get a sliced bread number 2 again, perfectly executed, but it was near the ring ropes and Mike trying to roll out of the ring. But Lee Brian Kendrick, to his credit, he tries to get him in the ring. Still not enough for a 3 count. I feel like if Mike was not that close to the ropes, he probably would have won here. But he didn't, because following this, Mike just went into another gear as we got quite a finisher combination here. 2 super kicks, another Michinoku driver, and as you now call it, Chris, that swinging DDT, love hurts, into the cover for the win. Nigel ecstatic, Maria ecstatic, and Mike feels very much relieved. So I wonder if this is the end to what these two are going to do against one another, and is this building towards maybe the next potential candidate to the Cruiserweight title, which will be in shortly. But I thought this was a really nice opener. And as far as the commentary goes, my one takeaway is Nigel being the heel. At least he was on point, and I agree with this. Drake Maverick, focus on 205 Live. Don't focus on the fucking 24/7 title. And we're going to get more into that later, folks. But that address. So, yeah, I thought it was a very nice opener. And, hey, it builds Mike Kanellis' momentum after losing that crazy 5-way dance. So, following this, we get, like you said, the mention of Blood Money, Large, Lucha House Party. Who the fuck cares? Anyway.
I fast-forwarded through it.
Me too. Anyway, we go into the office where we find Drake Maverick talking with the champion, Tony Nese. And Tony Nese is saying he's getting restless. He wants to be a fighting champion. So he actually vouches and praises for who comes in shortly after, Akira Tozawa. And he actually wants to fight Akira for the title. So he formally requests it. But Drake Maverick, a man that doesn't show favorites, looks at wins and losses, and really looks at the whole roster and treats this Cruiserweight title something special. He says that he's going to take under consideration because he wants to make no rash decisions. Akira, pass the title, they both leave the office. Foreshadowing of things to come, I don't know, but I feel like Akira's definitely back in the title picture, and I feel like he deserves it. Owen, is there anything else you took away from this backstage segment?
I liked it. I like how Tony Nese wanted to be a fighting champion, and he doesn't want to just sit on the sidelines. I think that's cool. And, Akira Tozawa's role was pretty good here. Drake Maverick's role I thought was good, but, this is an example where main roster likes to fuck over the, gotta be PG here, screw over the developmental brand.
Glasses off, express yourself. Fuck that. My forum is unscripted and uncensored.
All right, there you go. But yeah, this is the main roster trying to fuck over, the developmental brands, because now they're putting in the stupid 24/7 title, and it fucks over 205 Live storylines. Keep that title on the main roster. It doesn't belong in NXT, it doesn't belong in NXT UK, and it doesn't belong in 205 Live. Drake Maverick, why all of a sudden now does he care about this title? He has a brand to run, get to work. But other than that, it's fine.
Chris, any further thoughts?
I like the fact that Tony Nese is a fighting champion. He wants the best of the best. He believes Tozawa should be the one that challenges him next. He wants that match. My thing is, Drake Maverick, like I said in his promo, you can just tell he's like, I have to take this under consideration. Okay, well, we've seen him on the main brand. He's more focused on trying to put wanted signs for R-Truth and win that 24/7 title. That's all he's focused on. He needs to run his brand. You are the general manager of 205 Live. You need to run the show. You need to worry about that That needs to be your priority. Don't worry about that 24/7 title, especially when 205 Live's going on. Don't worry about that title right now. You can worry about that on the main shows and do whatever you're doing there. Worry about running your show. That should have been a match that should have been easily booked and already set up instead of him, I'll have to take it under consideration. Because in his back of his mind, he's like, got to win that 24/7 title. Got to have that title. Got to win it. It seems like he was just distracted.
Very interesting perspective. So following that, speaking of title contenders, we talk about the former title contender here as we're in a doctor's office or trainer's room, it seems, with Ari Daivari, who apparently received 6 stitches in his ear. Ouch. Thankfully, Lorcan, as he blames Ole Lorcan for that. But he also believes that he has not put the Cruiserweight title in his rearview mirror. He still believes that he's still worthy of being champ, but he has unfinished business with Oni, and he says, now I'm going to give Oni his stitches. And then following that, we're going to talk about these two things together because they were pretty quick. Following that, we get filler match. This hasn't happened for a while, but I like when these do happen because you know that means somebody is either being demonstrated on the 205 Live roster or returning after hiatus. And here comes Noam Dar. He's back on 205 Live, facing a jobber named Mike Karma. What the fuck kind of name is that? Anyway.
Well, he got Karma all right.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Noam Dar back on 205 Live. The commentary referred to him about his showcase and his recent match with Mark Andrews in NXT UK and how he really just enjoys, it seems, exploiting his opponents for the win. Of course, Nigel behind this ain't like, meh. And really, that's all this was. It was really a showcase of his character, but also his finisher. Because what did he do? He took this guy completely for granted. Whether it's just rubbing his face and be like, hey, calm down. Or just literally joking around with the guy, throwing him out of the ring one side, out of the ring on the other side, and then hitting his Nova roller after a punt kick. But I'll give the jobber this, because this jobber got more offense than I think any jobber has recently in main roster memory. He got a few strikes in and then attempted a crossbody and failed miserably. And Noam Dar wins and goes over. Then we get the cheap heat promo with Sheriff Schreiber saying, hey, does this win put you back on track in 205 Live? But as he says, I never got off track. Setbacks, the only setback I had was due to jet lag. The supernova is still solid beyond belief. And now I'm going to prove I can be a top star on both continents. Thank you. Goodbye. Oklahoma sucks. All right. So, welcome back, Noam Dar. That was a really lazy promo.
It made me laugh, though.
Yeah.
Noam Dar, he's funny to his credit, and this is better than what he used to be used to. And I'm glad he's back on the roster. Chris, any thoughts on Noam Dar being back on 205 Live and basically his current character being portrayed?
Well, before we get into that, I want to speak about Daivari. I did kind of like that promo, how he's talking about, he believes he should still be the Cruiserweight champion. He should be the one that's his champion. But now he's got unfinished business. Lorcan gave him stitches. He busted him up. He said he wants his payback. Just a basic, simple storyline of, all right, you got me. I want to get you. I kind of like it. Just keep it simple and easy with a storyline. That's always a good thing. Yeah. Getting into this match with Noam Dar, like I said, great to see that he wasn't seriously injured. I'm glad he's back. Like I said, I'm glad he's on 205 Live. I'm glad he's on NXT UK. Like I said, the match was just like pretty much just I'm going to show off my character. Wasn't anything spectacular. Wasn't anything for me to write home to mom about or anything like that. Just pretty much was a demonstration of his character, his heelish ways about doing everything. And like I said, his promo, like I said, it was corny, but it was funny at the same time. Here's my idea with him. Okay, he's talking about he wants to be the best in 2 continents.
Correct.
So, and I know I pitched this on group chats and stuff, but I use Devlin. But this is a good example since I can pitch this now since he's actually on both shows. Correct. What I would end up doing is you want to make that 24/7 title relevant or have any kind of purpose or end game to it, have Noam Dar end up winning that thing. Here's the reason I would say why. He don't have to have it on 205 Live. He can go take that title to NXT UK and make that the European title. He can make that into something relevant. That's the only way I see the end game with 24/7 having any relevance on 205 Live matters. That's the only end game I can see where it actually be relevant for one time to have it on there.
I really think that's brilliant, considering our Trooper already cost the European title, and NXT UK doesn't have a mid-card title, but they seem to have a very strong mid-card. That's very interesting fantasy booking that would not only strengthen the value of that title, but would also probably strengthen awareness and build this star even more, not only on NXT UK, but 205 Live. I really like that. So before we get any more into my thoughts about Noam Dar, Owen, your thoughts about Ari Daivari, Noam Dar, the match and the promo.
I liked Owen Finch's promo. I thought it was a good way for him to set up a new feud. I wouldn't be surprised, too, if Orny Lorcan really did give him stitches in his ear, because he was bleeding pretty bad in that Fatal 5-Way match last week. So,
Oh, yeah.
And, I like that that's being used to set up a new feud, because they have a history, too, because Ari Daivari beat him to become #1 contender for the Cruiserweight title, so they have that. I like the squash match was fine. I've seen better squash matches, but it was fine. I don't know if it was really on the enhancement talent that didn't really seem like he knew how to do the squash match, or if it was just, that this was just not that good of a. But it was fine. Whatever. I like Noam Dar's new role. I like that he's a heel too on both brands, because it would have been confusing that if he was a face here. Because I remember he came back. This wasn't his return necessarily to 205 Live, because he came back like 3 weeks ago to fight Ari Daivari before he actually came to NXT UK, and he was a face. So I thought it was going to be confusing, like he was going to be a face on 205 Live and a heel on NXT UK. Because I remember they tried that with Orny Lorcan. They tried to make him a heel on 205 and a face in NXT, and it didn't work, really.
Nope.
They got front of the side, pretty much.
Yeah. But I like this, and I think that's a great idea that Chris has with that 24/7 title. The only problem is once he goes on Raw or SmackDown, that idea would just get thrown away, because he would be at the mercy of main roster booking.
Oh, Lord, help us all.
Well, that's the only reason But see, that's the only reason I even said it, though, too, because then you do away with the 24/7 title. They would have to recreate the title, because the purpose of doing it that way would be nobody's going to go from Raw and SmackDown to NXT UK to challenge for it. So that's how you would be able to, in storyline, create a mid-card title with the European title. And then they can do whatever they want. If they want to recreate a 24/7 title or just do it away with it or whatnot, because it's not creating any buzz, really. That would be the end game to that. That would be the best idea. You can kill two birds with one stone, get rid of that 24/7 title, and create a mid-card title for the UK.
Yeah, well, comedy is subjective no matter how you look at it. But as far as Noam Dar, the way I see it is this. You're right. They didn't do like a multiverse theory with another wrestler I enjoy that we'll talk about from another promotion another day. Basically, they redefined what he is now, because the last time he really was showcased on 205 Live, besides the Ari Daivari match, was his feud against Noam Dar, where he got obliterated and Noam Dar went over. So the way I see it, yeah, perfect. He's a heel character now. It goes great with Tony Nese, who's like the ultimate face now of 205 Live, and their champ. Mm-hmm. So this probably does put Noam Dar back in the title picture, because you've got a potential heel now that can go after Tony Nese, and there's history back there too. I really feel like the Cruiserweight title picture is very strong right now and still not fully defined, and I feel like we're still going to figure out a way to figure out the #1 contender for the title, which will hopefully be defended next time on main roster at Stomping Grounds. But We'll see. Anyway, Moving on from there, we go, we go outside the office of Drake Maverick, and basically they're asking, so have you come up with a decision yet? He says, got a lot on my mind right now, a lot to consider, but basically I got a lot on my mind right now, and I will get back to you at my thoughts. Who's down the hall? Freaking our truth, because the same building, SmackDown Live. He goes out of 24/7 title. All right, let me say this. Fuck this. I understand your idea about the European title, but this 24/7 title is bullshit. It's a joke. It's just trying to get somebody 2 seconds of TV time. The Cruiserweight shouldn't be going after this. I can understand you bringing in jobbers. Hell, I haven't even seen Ascension go after this thing. So really, who are you trying to put over here? No damn body. As Christopher Lewis said, this title is a fucking joke, shouldn't exist, and shouldn't definitely be chased after by the 205 Live talent. Thank God it's not being chased after NXT talent or freaking NXT UK talent. This is bullshit. The only reason I would believe that Drake Maverick would want to go after our truth for anything is put him on the Cruiserweight division. But you can't do that. He's 220 pounds. 205 Live is about 205 and under. So Drake, focus on your damn job. But I digress.
I think, too, anyway. me and Chris kind of already talked about this earlier, too, so.
Yeah, I think, yep. We all are in agreement about that one.
Yep. Bottom line, 205 Live, 24/7 should never be used in the same sentence.
No.
Anyway.
Unless the Cruiserweight title is being defended 24/7, but,
Okay,
Oh,
first off,
Lord.
one, that would be amazing. Two, Vince would fuck that up.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So following this, we go right into our main event day. Jack Gallagher versus Humberto Carrillo. And oof, what a match this was. It was a showcase of everything. I mean, Jack Gallagher as the technical guy. Humberto Carrillo as the aerial offense. But every form of style you think from a cruiserweight wrestler was demonstrated by both men in a battle really of one-upsmanship and just seeing, who can go over in a one-on-one match. But before I get your thoughts on that, let's go back to my favorite, and once again, for a better 205 Live, Drew Gulak, who sends out another weird cryptic message on Instagram. He says the following: "The anvil of justice is planted firm, and fate who makes the sword does the forging in advance. Hashtag 205 Live." And then the picture this time is just a barren tree in front of it. Looks like a really foggy, gray type brown forest in the foreground. I honestly don't know what to think of this, but this is the most compelling story to me right now coming out of 205 Live in weeks. I don't know if this is repackaging, if he's literally proctoring for someone else to become his student and to bring back 205 Live, or is he trying to tell us something bigger or Drake something bigger for 205 Live? I don't know what to think of this. Are all these connected? What's going on here? Oh, and you haven't been on here for a while, but you've seen the messages I have.
Yeah.
And I got to get your thoughts at this point. What is your thoughts on Drew Gulak's latest post? Do you think it's connected to his previous ones? And what do you see coming from this?
I really don't know. I think he's gonna come back and he's gonna be more even more aggressive than he was, and he's gonna really spread his message about staying on the ground and no flips and no fists. I don't know though what he does. I think he's gonna get involved in this Gallagher, Humberto Carrillo storyline, because if you notice, the only time they show these is before Humberto Carrillo and Jack Gallagher have a match. So I think they're gonna be involved with that. Maybe he'll come back.
That's true. You're right.
And maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back and obliterate both of them. I actually thought he was going to come back at the end of this match and beat up both of them. And I think this is going to set up maybe a triple threat match with Gulak versus Gallagher versus Humberto Carrillo. Because I still don't know what's going on with Jack Gallagher either. Is he just faking being a babyface, or is he actually going to be a babyface eventually?
I feel like he's more trying to find his place right now. Because when you think about it, he doesn't know what he stands for. Is he the original guy, remember, being a bit fun, goofy, but technically sound? Or is he this hard, gritty wrestler now that Drew Gulak tried to turn him into? Or is he trying to be both?
Yeah.
But before I talk more on that, Chris, your thoughts on Drew Gulak?
Well, first off, before we talk about that, we forgot about the Lorcan promo that happened before this.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Which we did forget about that, where he was cutting his promo, talking about Davari and pretty much saying, it's all right, I could give you more stitches again, pretty much a simple, basic storyline setting up that match. We did forget about that.
Yeah, I forgot. Apologies. 20% of tile fucked me up. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Anyway, only Lorcan. Before we talk back, before I get fuzz and Drew, I'm sorry. Yeah, only Lorcan, firm believer, taking responsibility for his actions. He lost, came up short last week. He accepts that. But Iron blames him for those stitches. You know what? My apologies if you believe that. But all I'm going to do, because you look unbalanced, I'm just going to give you stitches on the other side. This is obviously setting up a match between the two. I also like how this time it wasn't the same generic background. It was like a blacked out room. So
yes, thank God they changed it.
Yeah, it doesn't make it seem so generic, okay? Because what I like about 205 Live, when it comes to the wrestlers and their promos, they do it in atmospheres that stand out every once in a while. He did the locker room thing for 3 weeks in a row. Enough already. So I wonder if this means he's going to go darker, grittier, or if he is in a dark place too. There's so much foreshadowing on 205 Live. It's amazing. Anyway, sorry about that. I'll get Owen's thoughts on that promo too. But continue your thoughts on Drew Gulak since you talked about the Oni thing.
All right, and then for Drew Gulak, I'm finding this dynamic to be very interesting, and I just had another interesting theory, though, too. So we're doing this matchup with Humberto and the gentleman. Okay, yes. We'll talk about the results of it in a minute. But what if Gulak's trying to send him a message that he's coming back with somebody? Maybe somebody he's feuding you with right now on NXT? Maybe he's trying to commit. Maybe he's trying to have a match, set this up to bring this gentleman in. Maybe set it up. So he's like, okay, you want to be his teacher student? I got a new student. Maybe he's sending him that message that he's coming back, but he's going to bring a new student with him.
Very interesting. Before we get into this match, Owen, any thoughts on the Oni promo?
I liked it. Good way to continue the build. I really like how his character and everything, and yeah, it was good.
All right, suppose that. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this match. I mean, jeez, they pulled out everything. First off, they start mutual respect. No handshake though, but it was like, okay, who can get the better of the Persian? You had switch around. Then Carrillo, he basically gains a little bit of offense in with bend back armbar into a cover. No, I'm sorry, that's Gallagher that did that. Very unique technical submission hold into a pinfall combination. I thought that was very interesting. And then Humberto Carrillo, he basically goes in with a little bit of his own countermeasures into a side headlock, but Jack Gallagher, he does that crazy twist around handstand and gets his way out of that. But then things start to pick up when both men show a little bit of an aerial offense, and then Jack Gallagher, he gains momentum with two beautiful deep arm drags into an arm bar. But then we get a bit of mind games / anything you could do, I could do better, with Jack Gallagher doing that famous top rope headstand, and then his legs out, hey, and then just do a little bit of area. I didn't know you could ride unicycle upside down. Anyway, what does Humberto Carrillo do? Oh, okay, I can do the same thing. Not the pedaling, but he basically does, I don't know, inverted jumping jacks, if you can call it that. And then we get some more arm drags, and then they changed their styles up a little bit. It went from both men being technical to Jack Gallagher being physical, as he literally just gained control with a beautiful countermeasure to the basement drop kick, where he slides over Humberto Carrillo and then throws him into the barricade. Jack maintains control of most of this match with wrist locks and just at one point just toying with his opponent. So many quick one counts when Carrillo tried to do the same thing earlier. I don't even think you could call those pinfalls. But basically, to make a long story short, we had more aerial offense, and then things picked up a little bit towards the way where we had a beautiful far back body drop, cross body combination, and then over the top rope. Humberto Carrillo showing off his aerial offense, what he's known for since being trained by Garza Jr. Then we get a roll through miss kick and then another roundhouse kick. He almost does like a Nakamura type combination there. And then a beautiful standing moonsault into a nice cover. Springboard roundhouse kick, another cover, still nothing special. Then we get a belly back suplex. Carrillo rolls out of that. And then Jack Gallagher, he literally just goes crazy, okay? He freaking goes for the, move it forward a little bit, folks. Gentleman's drop kick, throws his body through the ropes, then goes for a top rope aerial offense. Humberto Carrillo, though, he counters it by bringing his legs up after Jack Gallagher countered that earlier. And basically, the long story short, he caught him with a roll-up. It was really interesting. I was expecting, him to do like his Aztec Rex to really finish this match. But, yeah, this was a very nice back-and-forth one-on-one bout. And I feel like these two are going to go one-on-one again. But due to your foreshadowing, it might turn into a tag team type affair. I'm very interested to see what happens between both these men. Drew me told us a lot more. I can talk about this match, but I don't want to ramble on. So before we move on into our next set of, on this show, Owen, any other moves, moments, or takeaways you take from this match?
When he hits the drop kick, I really like how he even says, I'm better than you, because I thought that was just a nice little storyline element that they threw in there and stuff too.
Right.
Kind of showing he believes he's better than him, and yeah, I really like too. Gallagher, originally was fine with taking a count out, but then eventually he just wanted to legitimately beat Humberto Carrillo. The count out wasn't good enough. He wanted to prove he really was better than Humberto Carrillo. I loved Aiden English's commentary where in the beginning portions of the matchup they're locking up and stuff, and his whole gimmick is that apparently he thinks Humberto Carrillo's handsome, so he acted like he zoned out. I was like, I'm sorry, I would have commented, but I was just too busy looking at this lodge of handsomeness, so he says something to that. It was pretty funny. Dude, if there was one missed opportunity they did, I like Beth Phoenix and commentary in NXT, they really should have put Aiden English down there instead. Him, Mo, and Nigel would have been awesome together on commentary, I think. But yeah, I thought the right person went over too. If they really want to, Humberto Carrillo, ever since he's come to 205 Live, has been booked very well. I think he's only had one loss really, and that was his debut match. But even in his debut match, he, this still looked strong even in defeat. Plus, he was facing Buddy Murphy, who was champion at the time. He couldn't win that match anyways. But I still, overall, Humberto Carrillo has been booked very well. I really wish they would, if they're gonna, they would really start the Cruiserweight Tag Team title tournament. Just get that going and call up Wall Mendoza along with them, put them together as a tag team. I really wish they do that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the match, and I don't know what's gonna happen here though. If they're gonna have Gallagher eventually just snap, and they're gonna go the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio right, minus the Dominic part of the storyline, and have Gallagher be so obsessed with finally beating Humberto Carrillo, or if they're gonna bring back Drew Gulak first, do the tag match or the triple threat. I still think Gallagher's still gonna turn on him at some point, whether it's minus the Gulak part of it or with it. It's just if Gulak comes back and they do that, it will just be delayed a bit. So, there you go.
All right. Chris, any moments or takeaways you have about this match?
All right. This is an example of a match that you building new stars is an example of how you build a new star. Pretty much, this match was a clinic. I will say one thing about the gentleman. He has the most believable suicide dive out of any wrestler I've ever seen, and anybody challenge me on that. Because when he does a suicide dive, that man looks like he's hurting somebody with it. Not these suicide dives that people do, and here's my arms, please catch me. He did it where he tilted to the side, had his elbow out. He looked like he was trying to hurt the man. He was trying to give him damage, trying to win that match. So I challenge anybody to give me a better suicide dive where it actually looks like somebody's not trying to go, here, I'm diving, catch me, I'm Superman. Don't do that.
What about Akira Tozawa when he does his suicide dive?
Well, that's his head. That's a little different. But
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But I get what Chris is saying, absolutely. And it goes back to that gritty style Jack Gallagher shit the froze. And you're right, that was definitely one of the key moments for me in this match. The other key moment I thought was the running, I think, gentleman's drop kick he was going for, and what did Rio do? He literally just hip tosses him into the freaking barricade.
What I like about the... Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, go. But what I liked about it, I liked the ending of the match. The right person won. Okay, I understand the respect thing. I've been a big critic about respect. It was doing too much respect, whatnot. Now, if it's eventually building for the gentleman to turn heel and trying to get more vicious and get that win over him, because now he's lost twice to this man in the Fatal 4-Way and now tonight. Are they going to build to that? Or are they going to keep foreshadowing Drew Gulak, which is my idea, and they're going to have to team together when Gulak does return? Hopefully, with my theory, his opponent he's facing with NXT right now, and that would set up a very interesting dynamic. Could we see the gentleman turn on Humberto at that time and reunite Drew Gulak? Or what can we see? And you got too many different stories you can go with right now, so this is what I find interesting. You don't know how this story is going to play out yet, nor do you know where it's going to go, because you do have, like Owen pointed out earlier, anytime you see a Drew Gulak post, it's when the gentleman or Humberto is coming out. You don't see it any other time. They only discuss it when they're coming out or they've had a promo. So I find it very interesting. They are foreshadowing something, but what, we don't know yet.
And I think the beauty about it, too, is this isn't like, no matter where they go to, it's not going to piss anybody off. It's going to make sense.
Yep. It is, and it's a long-term story, like you said. There's not a bunch of overlapping, pointless stories or fillers to this. There's one main story, who's going after the title, and then you have this side story being built within now around one of the veterans, Drew Gulak. And I feel like you guys are really on point there, because you're right. It only comes up when it involves a match coming up between Jack Gallagher and Humberto Carrillo, two men that Drew Gulak knows very well. It's got to be building for some sort of triple threat climax or tag team feud. I don't know what else it could be, because I still believe Drew Gulak should be a candidate for Cruiserweight Championship. Now, truth be told, he's working down in NXT with, you're right, the time splitter Kushida, and I'm sure he's not going to be done with him until they have a legitimate one-on-one match based on their game. What are both of them known for? Submissions.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to result with something like that, and then both men are going to look at each other, acknowledge one another for foreshadowing, I'm sure, about meeting again, but not so much in a one-on-one feud. Maybe more on a mutual grounds respect. Hell, maybe the next Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I don't know. But there's got to be some sort of foreshadowing going on where I see Drew Gulak coming back different coming back towards the title, but also coming back for vengeance. I feel like he's literally redefining himself. He might even break the whole proverb about safe and sound, feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've all seen in every big climax story matches he's had, he has breaking that moral code towards the end because he sometimes feels he has to use that to win. So there's
and then
a
he always
lot of
loses.
interjecting, theories, thoughts, and ideas around Drew Gulak. We have no idea what's going on with the guy, but we're most interested to see what. And yeah, I mean, the final note of the show, this roster now, full of competition, it's stacked. Who's going to challenge Tony Nese now? Because now you can make a case for Humberto Carrillo, Noam Dar, Mike Kanellis, and maybe, like you're saying, Drew Gulak. So there's really no idea who can challenge, Tony Nese one-on-one clearly, according to the way they're ruling 205 Live. But if I were to pick, I would say it was up. And I thought this was a really interesting episode with a bit of foreshadowing to come, though we have no idea what's going to happen next week. So let's see. Last week I gave it a 4 out of 5. We had a little bit of a Jawar match, but Noam Dar returned. We have a friendly bout between Jack Gallagher and Humberto Carrillo. And we had a nice opener between the Brian Kendrick and Mike Kanellis. Basically referring back to, when he attacked it before. There was foreshadowing for the future. There was brought back of the past. But it wasn't like you really saw anything repeated. I don't know. This was an odd episode for me, but it also seemed a bit building. And then we had the one thing I fucking hated. You know what? I'm going to think about mine first. Chris, if you were to grade this week's episode 205 Live out of 5, what would you give it?
If it was just the main event, I would easily put it at 4 3/4. Easily, if it was just the main event. You had a good opening match. You had a decent middle there where you're showing pretty much Noam Dar's character or what he's going to be like as a heel. I said Drake Maverick was the one aggravating part of this whole show. I said he needs to be focused on his job as the general manager at 205 Live. Do not worry about that damn 24/7 title right this time. Don't worry about it when you're doing your job on 205 Live. Worry about doing your job on 205 Live. So all together and to top that, you don't know who the number one contender is for Tony Nese. I wanted to beat Tozawa. He's beat Mike Kanellis. He's got a big win over him. He's won that Fatal 5-Way. I believe he should be the number one contender. However, they're setting it up different directions with Kanellis winning. Even with Humberto winning. Humberto's been on a hot streak. He's been built up very strong. Do you go with the young upstart to challenge next for Tony Nese, or do you save it and continue to build him for later down the road when Tony Nese is the champion still, or whoever's the champion, to face him later down the road after you built him up some more? So I like the dynamic, how they're setting up that there's all these different challengers that are ready to go and all have a right to say, hey, this is why I should be challenging. So for that, I'm going to go with my final score. I'm just going to go 4 1/4.
Okay, respectable. Owen, you're great.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I'm gonna go 4 1/4 for basically everything that he just said. The only thing that keeps it from being a 4 3/4 is that stupid 24/7 title. Get rid of that title. We don't need it.
I'm glad you also didn't mention the freaking announcement for something I could give 2 shits less about. Yeah, I agree with both of you. I feel like this was definitely a little better than last week because we got a bit more showcasing of who else can be a potential Cruiserweight title candidate. And Humberto Carrillo and Jack Gallagher, they put on a clinic. You have an original and you have an up-and-comer. The up-and-comer going over on the veteran. We don't know where Jack Gallagher stands in this, as we saw a bit of a very confused, distraught look. So I agree. This was a very good episode and a lot of foreshadowing to come. And I feel like even though it wasn't announced, I feel like one match we're going to get next week, our divider was only Larkin.
Well, we don't know if he's even going to be cleared to wrestle. Story tape-wise. But one question I have, I know it's random, but does the 24/7 title get? Can people defend it in a legitimate match, or do they just do these random backstage segments and such?
Well,
yes, they can defend it in a legitimate match.
Okay.
Your definition of legitimate match versus gimmick match, I think, varies from mine. Because you got to remember who came up with this. The USA Network. We need something to engage people on. You need to bring more viewers. This is the answer we're referring to. This is that's brilliant. I thought I was a genius. And here we are. So
no, I'll say this too about the 24/7 title. It's a good concept. I liked it when they did it with the hardcore title, but the difference is the hardcore title was defended in legitimate matches, and you had the first champion didn't lose their title in 23 seconds.
Yeah. I
The
don't
very
think
first champion was Mick Foley.
Yeah, big difference versus Titus O'Neil. Stay tuned, folks, to know the Q review. I'm sure they're going to talk about this title more too. So with that, let's move away from that shit, and let's go ahead and talk about some simple stances. So we're in a very unique situation with one person I feel in particular, Mike Kanellis. He's already talked about how 205 Live has reignited his love for wrestling. But there's been rumor before that they're leaving, and Maria put that to rest. But now it may seem more legit with two reasons. One, AEW effect, and two, his contract is expiring very soon, a few weeks in June. So, Owen, I pose the question to you. Mike Kanellis, does he resign or does he go away, and do you see him going to AEW?
I could see it happening. I really would like him to, because he's worked in ROH, and New Japan and stuff for so long. Like, he knows the Young Bucks, and stuff like that, because he's worked with them. And I think he would, I think he's being used fine in 205 Live, but I think, he could be used in a way, so much better. If he goes to AEW, he could be in contention for the world title. He could be, if they put in a big mid-card bout, he could be in contention for the mid-card title. I just think he could be doing so many better things. But I also kind of question too if Mike, and plus if he could freaking use his name, that'd be nice.
Yes.
Because remember, that's another thing that got taken away from him was his name. He can't even use his last name. But also, I think about it like this. Last time they did this, they worked us because what happened? Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis both weren't seen for weeks and weeks. They weren't even at any house shows or anything. And Maria Kanellis, she showed up in the Women's Royal Rumble. And I believe Mike Kanellis was on the episode of 205 Live right afterwards too. So they could be working us because that's the thing. Mike and Maria Kanellis are very good at working us when it comes to their Instagram posts and things like that. And plus, too, it allowed Mike Kanellis. I'll just say Mike Bennett since I'm talking about the person right now. It allowed him to get clean and get off the drugs and things that he was off of. So maybe he feels like he owes WWE in a way. And also too, I don't know what are these 205 Live schedules like too? Because obviously do they wrestle anywhere else besides 205 Live? Because if that's the case, maybe he likes the fact that he doesn't have to wrestle as often. Just being in 205 Live and you can go home because remember he's got a little girl at home and stuff too. So, I could see him going to AEW, but I can also see him staying with WWE. Plus, if he likes 205 Live a lot and it really invigorated his passion for wrestling, I could see him staying and really wanting to really establish that brand. So it's really kind of tough for me what I think he's going to do because I could see him doing one or the other. But if what I want to see, plus too, if he leaves too, it hurts kind of 205 Live because he's one of the big names on the show too that they really focus on and stuff too. Because that's the thing, one of the flaws with 205 Live right now is main roster likes to raid talent of developmental brands because they raided Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy off the show. Oh, by the way, how they doing on the main roster? They're not. They're just freaking going after 24/7 titles. So, yeah, great job right there, guys. So, you know what? Just because I'm gonna say he stays in 205 Live because I don't think AEW really needs him to. They got Jon Moxley, they got Chris Jericho, they have a lot of big stars. There's probably more to come. I think AEW shouldn't too. One of the mistakes that TNA and WCW made was they relied too much on the past WWE stars and rejects and stuff. And if Mike Kanellis or Mike Bennett, since he'd be Mike Bennett when he goes, if he goes there and they just push him to the moon, it's the TNA effect all over again. So I say he stays in WWE for all the reasons I say he should stay.
Very interesting points. Chris, what is your stance on Mike Kanellis? Do you see him resigning with the company, or do you see him going back to maybe Ring of Honor or just the Indies? Do you see him stopping wrestling at all?
I see him resigning for WWE. I see him resigning for 1 year, and this is why my theory is on this. AEW has been very successful so far with their one show. They gonna have to do more. And like I said, I was a big fan of the show. I was a big fan of Double or Nothing. They're gonna have to continue to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Kanellis, Mike Bennett, as a man, has to look at it that way too. Do I want to go over there and do this with all these stars they have right now? Or do I want to stay on something where I found my love and passion again? Do I want to stay with this company even just for another year to see where I can go in 205 Live and see what they do with me? And like I said, that man has to give W credit. This is the one time I'll give the W credit, though. They did help that man get him into rehab and get him clean. They did that. That was a great story of him getting clean and coming out cleaner on the other side because he was going in a dark place. I will give WWE credit for that by helping that man get himself clean. I think he will stay with them. He want to only sign a year deal, just see where he goes, and he'll keep his options open. He'll look, he'll see what Ring of Honor's doing, New Japan's doing. He'll look and see how AEW has been established when they get on the national TV. He'll look at all his options then. So for now, my opinion is he'll at least try to sign a one-year deal with them and see where it goes with 205 Live.
Yeah, when I look at, people talk about AEW effect, everything's better there, the grass is greener, WWE, blah, 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 blah. I look at it like this, okay? Yes, there are flaws to WWE. But when it comes to 205 Live, I don't see a lot of flaws in that system, at least not right now. Truth be told, we know that a couple people left because, of indifferences. And they seem to be doing all right where they are. Now, as far as...
Also, too, Noah, that was the old chapter of 205 Live when they left.
That's true, but also you did have a recent departure from somebody, under the different regime of 205 Live for whatever reason. And as far as I know, Kendra's doing okay. But anyway, as far as Mike Kanellis goes, if I were to think about, his contract expiring, his wife Maria, very savvy businesswoman, been in WWE, knows the way it works for years. Like you said, she knows how to work us on Instagram, knows how to work the fans. But they both respect this brand. They both respect what it's done for them. They both respect the WWE. And I feel like, Mike really fits in 205 Live, so I definitely see him resigning. Now, as far as what's to come from it, he says that he wants to get into the ring with people like Oney Lorcan. I can see 205 Live evolving more, adding another town or two to their roster. So I'm just keeping it simple, and I'm going to say that he does resign, like you said. I don't see Mike leaving with everything that WWE has given him. And 205 Live has truly reignited his passion for wrestling. Now, honestly, I feel like some other people want to go to 205 Live if they are a passionate fan of wrestling and probably go down there and wrestle and refine themselves too. But again, you got to be that weight limit and you got to see if Triple H can save you. I wonder if Triple H played in part, by the way, with the decision to bring Mike down to 205 Live. I don't know whether or not that was disclosed in that interview I listened to from 411 Mania. I'll have to go back and see that. All right. So, Mike Kanellis, great 205 Live. Let's hope he stays. Okay. Chris, what would you like to talk about tonight in Simple Stances?
All right. Let's go with the big thing. Let's go with this big subject here I was thinking about. Let's go. Okay, we're building up Lucha House Party versus Lars Sullivan. Okay, we already know. Listen, no, but we're already going through this. Okay, God, here we go. But we already know the ending of this is going to be. But when would it be acceptable for a 205 Live star to actually challenge a main roster person? When would be an acceptable time? What would be an acceptable concept for that to happen, where actually a main roster person shows up on 205 Live? These two individuals have a feud, for a standing feud, where one is somebody from 205 Live is either going on Raw or SmackDown to feud with this, and vice versa. When would it be an acceptable, and who would you do it with?
If I were to pick one situation right now between a 205 Live star and a WWE main roster superstar, not necessarily competing on 205 Live because of the whole weight thing, I would say this. Seth Rollins, Universal Champion. He wants to be a fighting champion. This is his life. He wants real competition. Okay, he doesn't need that Brock Lesnar bullshit wearing down on him. There's one person with probably as big as a heart as him, if not bigger. Open challenge and have him face Cedric Alexander. It will show what Cedric Alexander can do. It will give you an idea of what 205 Live brings you. Not only does this bring foreshadowing what else you could expect from people from 205 Live, it would help you build a new star because WWE is lacking star power. You can't rely on the Roman call to give you ratings. It doesn't work. So keeping it simple, I would say right out of the gate, Cedric Alexander versus Seth Rollins. Owen, your thoughts?
I would like to see Kalisto versus Rey Mysterio because a lot of people see like a lot of similarities between Kalisto and Rey Mysterio. I think that would be pretty interesting. Have them just have a match just based off respect towards each other. I would like that one. Or another one I could see would be wild card was because the wild card rule that's not in effect, right? Because I haven't been watching the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
AJ Styles versus Buddy Murphy. I think that would be a hell of a matchup as well. But if you want to see like a 205 Live superstar that could go down there, I would like to see Chad Gable because he fits the weight limit, even if it's just a one-off. And he's very technically sound. And I would like to see him face Drew Gulak to see who the best technical wrestler is because they could put on a clinic for 20 minutes if they're given the chance.
Well, 205 Live gives you at least that with 2 matches a night. We were fortunate enough to get through within a 47-minute limit. I like those a lot, but going back to what you said about Kalisto versus Rey Mysterio, that's a tribute to the Lucha Libre style. As y'all know, as a fan of wrestling, I look at Best Super Juniors. I recently saw Dragon Lee versus Teton, and Reshiu Ono was the referee. They pulled out the Mexican flag. They put out a mask of Reshiu Ono, the best he's looked in a long time. And it was truly a Lucha Libre showcase. It was incredible, fast-paced action. Show what both men can do. Show why you should respect this style of wrestling. With Kalisto and Rey Mysterio both being United States champions, I can see that being for the United States title and elevating it. I like that a lot. Now, as far as what you did there, the Juggernaut versus the Phenomenal One, that would be a very interesting dynamic there because both those men are agile high flyers and all-around good athletes. Buddy Murphy's still looking for a fight, still looking for a potential match that could really put him on the map. AJ Styles seems to be wild card rule enough because he's that type of a star, and I feel like that could be a great opener to freaking SmackDown Live, if not closer, because it also could be foreshadowing of 205 Live because, again, you have 205 Live talent on your main roster. Showcase them for what they can do. The closest we got was Cedric Alexander versus Cesaro, and he hasn't been seen since.
No, he has. Main event, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, he was like. That just shows you where Cedric Alexander's wrestled on main event.
Yes, he has.
Fuck my God. Are you fucking kidding me? Main event?
No.
Who watches that shit? There's a reason superstars no longer fucking exist. Bullshit. God. All right. Moving on for the sake of my family. All right. Great topic. Okay, one more thing I want to think about here. 205 Live. Development and outlook. You use the word developmental. I don't see 205 Live as developmental. I see it standing out as its own brand, just like NXT and NXT UK. But you look at the outlook of 205 Live. It is a tribute and showcase to a different style of wrestling most people may not respect or be aware of, Cruiserweight wrestling. Not really brought back to its apex since WCW. Chris, you briefly talked about this in chat. Mistakes that this can avoid and things it can do to grow. So with that, I'm going to keep it simple and ask you first, Chris, since you proposed this, 205 Live. I don't see it as developmental, but what can you propose to see it grow?
Well, this is actually since I didn't get to answer the last question, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna answer the last, but I'm gonna answer the last question because this will.
When the fucking main roster gets mentioned on my show here, the bullshit they're doing with the Cruiserweight division, you got fucking blood money. God. Okay.
But it actually is a good segue because it would actually kill two birds with one stone. But to answer my question, first, I was thinking long and hard, and I asked a couple other people. But I was asking a couple other people's opinions about this when I brought this subject up. And I will mention good brother Chris. Like I said, I should give him a shout out here on this idea he brought up, but then I'm going to bring up my idea real quick. He brought up somebody like Cesaro versus Humberto because Cesaro could pull off any kind of match with anybody. Look at what the work he did with Sami Zayn, for example.
Absolutely.
But I want to give him a shout out on that. Because on that one, because that was a good idea. That was a really damn good idea. I would have never thought of that. But the idea I had was we want to talk about establishing 205 Live as a brand, as something that could be considered worthy of main roster stuff. Here's a good idea. Here's how I would do this. You know what? We talk about the 205 Live and the weight limit. The closest person I could think of to the weight limit would be somebody like a Finn Balor, for example. He's closest to me to the weight limit where it could be acceptable. So what I would propose is, okay, we're talking about having an interpromotional feud with somebody from 205 Live and somebody from the main roster. Let's book Tony Nese as the Cruiserweight Champion versus Finn Balor. You put it up there.
Wow.
Finn Balor comes up as the IC champion. He goes, I've beaten everybody. Or he's on SmackDown right now. I got to remember he's on SmackDown now. So that would actually work perfect. They're on the same. They do everything on the same time. He goes open challenge. Here comes Tony Nese. I'm the Cruiserweight champion. I'm challenging for your Intercontinental Championship. You build up a great feud. You build up a great storyline. But since it's main roster, you have to do something different. You have to either come up with some kind of screwy finish, or you come up to them where somehow you get a draw out of it, or you get a double pin.
I was saying
you have no winner. You have no winner in the match. You have a double pin. It's a draw.
Right.
So then now Tony Nese. So then you have Tony Nese comes on 205 Live. We can play up the storyline with Drake Maverick. He's worried about 24/7. Blah blah blah. That's all he's worried about. So Tony Nese comes out on his own. I'm not sitting on the sideline. I want to put this title on line right now. Anybody, open challenge who comes out. Now you have Finn Balor come out. Well, hi, you answered my open challenge. Now I'm going to answer your open challenge and go after your Cruiserweight title. And you could have a showcase there. Now, it doesn't have to end where he loses or anything. You could do the same thing. You could have a draw. But then now here's the kicker. Okay, so now you've established that both men are contenders. They both have their titles. Now how you do it is once you've had these matches where you haven't had conclusive winner on either one, you go to a match. You go to the rubber match. You put both titles on a line. You put it where there must be a winner. We're going to have the best of the best from 205 Live. We're going to have the best of the best SmackDown, Intercontinental title versus Cruiserweight title, and you go from there. And you have a showcase of the best, champion versus champion, title versus title.
That is extremely brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
That elevates the IC title because the IC title ain't doing shit right now, and it's not going to be doing anything, at least for the next week. That is brilliant. I love that. Considering how much Tony Nese and Finn Balor are dynamic athletes, one claiming the premier, one saying they're an extraordinary man that can do extraordinary things, it fits perfectly with both their characters and their in-ring ethics. That would be a clinic. No demon needed. I love that. You protect them first by showcasing them like a screwy finish, like you said, a double count out, and then you build up, oh, he didn't beat me, but we have unfinished business. He didn't beat me. You don't want to focus on this. I'm going to make this my own thing. And you build a story towards that. Maybe Finn becomes more heelish. Maybe Tony Nese becomes more of a face. Or maybe you change the dynamic and we really rewrite how 205 Live looks at its top guy. And then you showcase both these men on the main roster pay-per-view, title for title, close to like the semi-main event. I love that. That's like stomping grounds in its name. You're literally defining new talent. You're defining who's the best, who can hold up with the best. Who should we consider the best? Stomping ground should be a freaking battleground, no pun intended, and I don't want to call it that either, of who is the better champ or the better athlete. That's brilliant. Owen, your thoughts on that on his suggestion and your proposed answer to that topic?
I think that's a great idea. I love it. And I think it could, like, if you have like one guy holding both belts, whether it's Tony Nese or Finn Balor.
I mean, they did Becky 2 belts for at least a month. But at least this makes more sense because it's based on athleticism, not just pop. That didn't get a nice follow-up. But continue.
But my idea would be I have two. First would be to bring in Cruiserweight tag team titles. I think that would be awesome, and it would really show like there's depth and talent in the division. You could have like, because like I think that's one of the flaws in the way of 205 Live. There's only one title for them to go after. If they had more titles to go after, it would really, open up the doors for the division. And having who doesn't want to? I really want to see Cruiserweight tag titles. I think they would be awesome.
Well, right now you only got 2 tag teams, technically 3. When I think of tag team divisions, you need at least 4 to establish it. And Raw and SmackDown don't even have 4 separately established.
Yeah, we've come up with, and then another idea I had was Maybe make it, instead of putting like 205 Live like right after SmackDown, because that's kind of not really helping 205 Live because a lot of people don't stay for the show, so they'll kind of film in empty arenas. Why not put it in Full Sail and make it kind of part of the NXT brand in a way? You can have because the Full Sail crowd would love it and it would feel big, like the Full Sail crowd would be into it. And I think if you make it part of the NXT, and obviously NXT UK would be included because it's kind of, part of NXT. You open up more opportunities for more contenders to be a part of the, 205 Live division, like, Tyler Bate, Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, even Tyler Breeze because he's in NXT now too. Walt Mendoza, because that's kind of one of the flaws is the 205 Live Raws is kind of small. If you make it part of the NXT brand, maybe make NXT, 90 minutes, you could really have like a nice fourth title for the NXT brand to fight over. So that's what I would do. I would make it part of the NXT brand, put it into Full Sail, because then it would never get showcased on like a kickoff again. They would get showcased in the right way. And think about it, you have more Manalo calling the action too, which would be awesome for the brand.
Well, the way I see it, the AEW effect hopefully will make these guys do change and evolve. And I feel like if you do incorporate NXT and 205 Live together, that's a positive start. Because right now, when you look at wrestling, I see a lot of people saying AEW or NXT are the only two things that can really compete against each other. I don't think that's necessarily true. And I feel like if you add 205 Live to the mix, you got something going there. But I still feel like, in my opinion, to close out this topic, the one thing they need to do, put a Cruiserweight title match on an NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, that'd be nice too.
All right.
Or UK.
But also something Owen brought up too with that Cruiserweight tag titles too. Yes, they only have 2 teams right now, but this is a perfect opportunity where you can do a callback and bring some other teams in. You could bring a Juventud Guerrera, and you could bring Super Crazy, or you can bring a Psychosis, reform the Mexicals to enter in that Cruiserweight tag team tournament. You could bring you could pair the likes of the Ultimate Dragon and Tajiri because they all are still actively wrestling in the independent scene. You can do a callback to past Cruiserweight stars. You could find guys like Kid Romeo and Elix Skipper, who were the original WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions. You could do a callback to them saying, hey, we were the first ones. That company closed down. Now we want those tag titles. Well, we know those are going to matter to us. We're coming back here. We're only coming back for those belts.
Well,
you could do a storyline with that.
Yeah, considering NXT Arrival did something like that with their tag team picture, bringing Too Cool back, I could definitely, you're right. I could definitely see him actually bring it back, even if it's just a showcase. I could definitely see him doing that. That's actually not a bad idea either. Heck, maybe you can surprise somebody. I know Flip Gordon's contract's going to be up, I think, within the next year. Bring Flip Gordon on 205 Live.
The only problem is putting back people from the old Cruiserweight division. You got to remember the Cruiserweight division was different back then because I think the weight limit was higher. I believe it was like 215.
Yeah, but Gregory Helms, Shane Helms, he works backstage. Drew Yang, I have no idea what he's doing. And who's another one? Who used to be Brian? Paul London. I have no idea what he's up to.
Yeah.
Shannon Moore, I don't remember last time I saw that guy. So you really would have to try and do some reaching out there. But you do bring up a keen observation there if you were to do something like that. Just be like a showcase for showing. Hell, AEW did it with their freaking international promotion showcase match with the women.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hashtag AEW effect. But, yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider. All right. Well, now that I got my anger out of the way, and I think I'm finally back on track, is there anything else anyone would like to add, or do you think that's enough for tonight?
I got something.
What?
So, WWE's building, that there's possibly going to be a Cruiserweight title match. We just don't know who the contender is. The one thing I hope they don't do is do not put, this is actually the one time I'm asking for this, do not put the Cruiserweight title match on Blood Money 3.
Fuck that.
Yeah. The Cruiserweights don't really need to be a part of that show. They don't need to be a part of that stink. I know technically like Mike Kanellis and Lee Brian Kendrick are going over there, but like I said, that's not their match. And I don't think 205 Live, you could tell, isn't really directly built into Blood Money 3. Like I said, do not put a cruiserweight title match there. It's a really bad idea. Plus it's going to go in front of a crowd that you know isn't going to give a crap about it because one, the Saudi crowd doesn't give a crap about anything unless it's freaking Goldberg, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, all these types of crap. And just this show shouldn't even happen to begin with. And don't make me boycott 205 Live too, because if 205 Live has a cruiserweight title match at Blood Money 3, not watching 205 Live next week. I shouldn't say ever again, but not that week or the week after, because I don't want to see the backlash of the 205 Live cruiserweight title match. So don't you dare do that.
Before Chris says anything, 205 Live matters. It does not belong on the kickoff show. Applies to freaking wrestling stages in front of wrestling fans. Not a Julius Caesar, Roman Coliseum, release the lions, fight to death for me, showcase, fight for my pleasure because the prince owns Vince. In the name of professional wrestling, do not soil what this division and title stands for by putting this on Blood Money 3. Now, for the sake of my family, I'm just going to leave it at that because they're actually sleeping. Chris, speak.
All right, I think at this point let's change the subject. I got a good main event topic. So we're talking about 205 Live matters and everything like that. I want to know, when do you think it possible we're going to see in 205, an all 205 Live / cruiserweight / light heavyweight pay-per-view? And if we ever do get one where we showcase past and present to build up this brand, what one match that's still physically possible would you want to see on that card from anybody from the past to the present? What one match would you want to see on that showcase to showcase the history of the cruiserweight, the light heavyweight, all the way to 205 Live now?
If I were to pick one match to see, he's a legend, he's planning to retire. He has been in the game forever, and I don't know what his plan is, but his plan is maybe for his son to continue his legacy. I would love to see, as the showcase match, Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Because Jushin Thunder Liger has worked in the WWE before, even if it was a one-off. It was the opening match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn against Rich Bitty, Tyler Breeze. It was a really nice showcase. These two are trailblazers in the wrestling industry. Trailblazers in cruiserweight wrestling. One's fixing to retire soon. I don't know how much longer Rey Mysterio can go for. It's already been proposed, and rumored that the storyline with him, since it seems like he's injury prone, is for him to pass off his legacy, his style, even his mask potentially, to his son Dominic. So why not send Rey Mysterio out in the sunset and Jushin Thunder Liger, one of his last showcase matches before Wrestle Kingdom next year? Why not do it? Why not give people a reason to believe in cruiserweight wrestling going forward than Jushin Thunder Liger versus Rey Mysterio? Now, as far as when to do it, that's the thing. When it comes to the cruiserweights, you need a really pinnacle time, I would think, to showcase this. It would have to be like a milestone or an anniversary. Now, truth be told, 205 Live, they're running in now in episode 131. Maybe you do something special like that for episode 150, and instead of being a normal episode, you do like a showcase thing like NXT UK does with 25 of their things, and do like a takeover special, but call Elevation, where you elevate cruiserweight wrestling, and you not only elevate, the style and awareness and bring wrestling fans who used to like this back, but you elevate this division and this brand. So that's my proposal. Episode number 150, create a special called Elevation in your showcase match, Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Owen?
A match I would like to see is the rematch. Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi. Because in the Cruiserweight Classics, this is the match that got Cedric signed in WWE. He might not even have been in WWE, back then. But this is what made Cedric Alexander popular. And you can really use that. You can have Kota Ibushi come back. You can have Cedric Alexander say, I want another crack at you. Even though I got signed, I don't feel like I really became the victor I want another chance. And I really would want to see that match. Now, when you do this, how many episodes of 205 Live have there been?
This was episode number 131 this week.
Yep.
I think I would imagine by the fall they're gonna get to 200. So I would obviously know you would. My math's not the best, but I'm assuming by the fall they're gonna get to 200.
No, they got a way to go. You got 69. Oh, damn it! I can already hear the comments now. No, I said
69.
Get your head out of your. Never mind. Anyway, there's 69 episodes till we get to 200, so we got at least 12 matches plus. 12 months plus. Damn.
Whatever episode 200 is going to be, if it's this fall or the winter, at least be at some point in that. That's when I would do it. I would make the 200th episode like a 2-hour special instead, and make it like a live special. Do it at Full Sail too, because that's where the Cruiserweight wrestling started. And have it in front of a big venue. Well, obviously Full Sail, and you do a 2-hour special. You bring in Mo Manalo, Nigel McGuinness, and if he says yes, Daniel Bryan, because Mo Manalo and Daniel Bryan, if you don't remember, commentated the Cruiserweight Classics. He should be there for the 200th episode, and you could stack the card, but that's the one match I would like to see is Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi, because I think
that defined the Cruiserweight Classic, redefined the rebirth for Cruiserweight Wrestling, and you bring it back, episode 200, in the place it all started, Full Sail University. That's pretty epic.
Yes.
Right.
And if you want to, you can put in, you can put in Nigel and Aiden too, but I don't know about doing a 4-man commentary team.
Let's not go crazy there. Remember, Survivor Series is already doing 5 people, and that was an effing disaster 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not blow things out of proportion here. So, Chris, great topic. What is your suggestion?
Well, I'm going to first off agree. I'm going to take an idea from both y'all scenarios. I agree with Owen about doing it at Full Sail, and I agree with you on doing it on episode 150. Those two topics I absolutely agree on. But it's got to be an epic match. It's got to be something that would be just about as big, if not just about as big for Cruiserweight Wrestling as The Rock versus Hogan was at WrestleMania.
Oh,
so I would say you would do Tony Nese, who is your Cruiserweight champion, as long as he's still champion. You do the storyline, like I said before, and I brought this up in past episodes. You do the full circle back with Rey Mysterio. He was the Cruiserweight champion. He became the heavyweight champion. Has won numerous titles in the heavyweight division. You do a callback. You bring him back. He wants to end his career. He wants to be the new face of 205 Live. He wants to go after that belt one more time. He wants to end his career back where it all started. You have it all come full circle. You have a program with each other. You make the match interesting. You do it as a callback to the times in WCW. You do mask versus title.
Damn.
Then you have to pick who would you want to see go over. This is going to be past versus present. Obviously, in my opinion, this would have to be Rey Mysterio's final match in the wrestling to me. This would have to be his swan song. He would have to put Tony Nese over. He would end up being where he unmasked. Finally, the real reason why he should unmask, not because of WCW Super Brawl 2000, but a damn good reason why he would unmask, because now he is putting the present and the future over with Tony Nese, and at the end of the match, he lays his mask down in the ring, he gives his bow, and he does his swan song. That's the way you should do it as the main event.
Wow. Talk about the close to a career. Damn. Well, I think on that note, I have nothing else to say but this. Hey, Triple H, we are all here. 205 Live matters to us. Hire us. We'll create your show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, I think that this concludes this special, epic, profanity-filled, fantasy booking-filled, disoriented, fun and entertaining, overall awesome and enjoyable 20th special episode of 205 Live Matters. So with that, Chris, thank you so much for your insight, your support, your positivity, and just your overall love for Cruiserweight Wrestling. Where can people find you and anything you want to plug?
Well, actually, I'm going to say something different tonight for once. Like I said, I've plugged myself and plugged No DQ and everything for a long time on each and different episodes. Everybody knows how to find me at this point. I just want to take a moment to tell these two guys in general that, helped. In reality, it actually helped you get motivated to start this show and help people like Colin start his show. I really want to take time to thank these two individuals, Stefan, oh my good Lord, I'm going to go brain dead, get tongue twisted. Stefan and Jerry. Like I said, they gave me a chance on NXT Tea Party 27, and I have never looked back since then. I know they helped motivate you to start this show in the first place. And instead of just talking about where you can find me or promoting a bunch of stuff, I just want to take a time for just a minute and thank those two gentlemen right there, because I feel like without them two gentlemen pushing you to do this show, getting guys like Colin and myself and other people on that show, this show wouldn't be happening right now. So for that, and just for giving me a platform to be able to talk about wrestling and have fun and enjoy talking about wrestling with people that love wrestling. Because at the end of the day, we've all become one big family. With all of us that do these shows throughout the week, we take time away from our family stuff just to have enjoyment and talk about wrestling. And so I just want to thank them two gentlemen right there, because I feel like without them pushing us and having us on their shows, this show wouldn't even exist right now, and neither would the Chopping Block or other shows. So I just want to tell them and take a minute, just tell them thank you for everything they've done for all of us.
Thank you, Jerry and Stefan. Aftermath Wrestling Matters, and so does What's NXT and NXT UK Tea Party. You're two incredible gentlemen. Well said. Well said. All right. Owen, I don't know how you're going to top that, but first off, glad to see you back. I hope everything's going well. Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my 3 YouTube channels, first being Wrestling Fortune 44, where I do the Wrestling Rundown. The Retro Wrestling Review series is coming back tomorrow. You're welcome to come on, Noah, because we're going to work it around you. We're going to be reviewing NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, the first one, because that's where Jason Thunder Liger shows up. So if you want to come on, Noah, just let me know. And then
I do. Wait a minute. Hold on. I do.
Yeah, Chris, if you want to come on too, you can. If you're not working. Also, me and my friend James Archangel are going to start the Wrestling Fantasy Booking Series, where we're going to either rebook or just flat out book storylines. The first thing we're going to book, crowning the first ever Women's Tag Team Champions, because how WWE did it sucked. We're going to do it better. At least we hope so, anyways. Find me on the Talkinator, or I'll post all my non-wrestling stuff, and CM Brothers as well. And also, you can follow me on Instagram, because if you want to get the Fantasy Booking Series early, we'll be going live on Instagram while we're recording the video. So make sure you guys tune into that.
All right, very nice.
Oh, I should give you my Instagram.
What?
I forgot to give my Instagram account name. It's Finch. It's Finch Owen.
Simple enough. Simple as that. All right. Well, with that, let me also say this. Stefan, Jerry, appreciate you. Owen, Chris, thank you all so much for your continued support for 205 Live, 205 Match, and just listening to this Simple Man rant even when he goes off track. Aaron Riff, thank you for allowing me to utilize your platform. You're an awesome fellow, a great wrestling fan as well. You appreciate diversity, individual faking, and you truly do believe everyone's opinions matters. God bless you, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for continuing to support me and my friends and fellow followers in this venture to support, promote, and always bring belief that 205 Live matters, because to me it always will. This will continue in longevity. This was episode 20. It was absolutely incredible. So let me close with this. I'm just a simple man and the current Team NoDQ NXT champion and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So if you want to follow me, talk anything wrestling, talk anything on 205 Live, 205 Matters, or Cruiserweight Wrestling, Cruiserweight Division in general, You can look me up on Twitter, nodq.com/Noah. It takes you to my Twitter page. Or look up and follow my simple YouTube channel here at youtube.com/users/Noah Foster 210. I'm currently doing my own little thing called the Summer of Wrestling, where I'll be promoting and reviewing and looking at basically other promotions and pay-per-views outside of WWE, giving my brief predictions and retrospects as well. Currently looking at Best of the Super Juniors, and I'm looking forward to Ring of Honor's Day of the Art and other shows coming up as well, along with so much more. Also, in general, just keep following NoDQ.com. They're really the reason why we're all here to begin with. Follow them here on all your social media platforms. Follow here on YouTube, Aaron Riff, NoDQ.com. Follow the website. Follow the Instagram account. Follow the Twitter account. Go buy a shirt, NoDQ.com/shirts. I think there's a sale still going on right now. There's over 30 different designs. No, I don't have a shirt yet. I'm not worried about that, okay? If they do a shirt for me, I'm sure they'll tell me, okay? It's not that big of a deal. Anyway.
He'll take the glasses off. That'll be a shirt. The glasses are coming off and the glasses are on the ground. That's what I think of a shirt. That'd be a good shirt.
Are you trying to give them weird design ideas?
No DQ.
And then on the back it'll say simple as that.
You know what? Why not? That defines me, right? Anyway, like I said, keep following NoDQ.com. Go listen to some music. Find out what we like. Go follow the players on Spotify. Hashtag Team NoDQ. Over 5,000 songs. I still can't believe that's a thing. And as always, as I like to close, support your wrestling house big and small, and support your local independent wrestling, because that's where a lot of these guys started. And let's keep growing this wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that, thank you all again so much for joining us on episode 20 of this special extended edition of 205 Live Matters. Take care. Enjoy time. Enjoy your family. Enjoy wrestling. If you want to be part of this fun, leave a comment, like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell a friend, and let me know what you would like us to discuss. And until next week, I hope every one of you, wrestling, non-wrestling, trolls, virtue, and everyone else combined, have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
See y'all next week for 205 Live Matters. Oh, wait. And I'll also be live streaming during NXT TakeOver 25. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. That is a wrap, gentlemen. Woo-wee.